Okay, this is the outdoor tour of our 1998 Damon Residency. This RV is 36 feet long. It has 2 full slide outs. It has 5 awnings, 4 of them over the windows, and 1 20-foot main awning. All 5 awnings have the metal aluminum shield that covers the fabric. They have 2 full slide toppers over the slide outs. Tons and tons of basement storage. The storage under the slide does not come out with the slide, and I actually prefer that, as it doesn't put a strain on the slide regardless of how much stuff you put in. I'm not going to open up all of the storage on this side, but I will open up and show you that this is where our Onan 5500 generator is stored. The RV has a fixed tag axle, which means that there's no suspension on the tag axle. It's fixed in place at one height. It is set approximately 3/4 of an inch above the ride height of the normal axle, and that is when the RV is unloaded. So when the RV is loaded, they ride pretty close to even. What the tag axle does is it helps the RV go straight down the road, especially if it's windy. Makes a huge difference. This RV is built on a 1997 Ford F53 chassis, which is the last year of the 460 engine. It's also the last year they went with the 16-inch wheels. All later models had the 19.5-inch wheels. Moving around to the front, it has a driver's door, exit door with a power window on it, which I love. Allows you to get in and out at gas stations without walking through the RV. It also has the full Banks power pack system, which means that it has, and I'll try to show you, it has full length 1.5-inch pipe headers that go into a 4-inch exhaust system. Believe it or not, it's actually quieter than the stock 460 Ford exhaust system, and it builds a ton of power and a ton of torque. Also, I have airbags, front and rear. Bilstein shocks, which I put on myself. It also has hydraulic leveling jacks made by HWH. 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. And you notice how I have them on blocks. The reason why is because it gives a good solid footprint and distributes a little bit of the footprint across a bigger area on uneven ground. Also, by stacking the blocks up, I'm not extending the jacks down quite as far. Hyper extending the jacks down is what can either A, possibly bend them, and B, wears them out a lot quicker. So to extend the life on them, I read someplace about putting blocks underneath so they don't extend the jacks down quite as far. It's been working out really well. The slide out is also hydraulic front and rear. Also made by HWH. It has dual power heated mirrors. I can adjust from inside, and I can heat them up if it's cold and they start to fog. I also have a CB on the inside and a radio, and those are the antennas for the two. Two big giant windshields and wipers, pretty standard for most Class A's. Moving around, there's the 20-foot awning. Also has a power step, which works automatically. As soon as you start the vehicle, it goes in, unless the door is open. I also have 640 watts of solar on the roof, which I will show you right now. The other part of the solar, and apologize for my bay being dirty, but there is my whole house inverter, solar breakers, Victron Smart Solar charge controller, all the wiring. I also carry a 125 amp starting battery charger that can also charge 6 volts, 12 volts. More batteries, those are going to go into my RZR. All my extra electrical supplies are all kept in here. Next compartment, my battery compartment. I have two massive 6-volt batteries, which make a total of 400 amp hours, 200 usable amp hours, all wired in. And here's the best part. Odyssey Extreme PC 2150. What that means is that gigantic 12-volt battery is my chassis battery. It has 2150 amps, 1300 cold cranking amps, 400 amp fuse for the inverter, shunt for the negative and the battery monitor. And I'll tell you what, even when that starter battery is down at 12.1, it spins at 460 like it's going out of style. The RV also carries a full-size spare 25-gallon propane tank. Or I believe that's considered a 80-pound tank. That bay right there contains all the hydraulics. I'm not going to waste my time showing you that. Full basement storage with tons and tons and tons of room to store everything you can think of. Ladder going up to the roof. Rear camera, which is also in color and has sound. Here's the part I really like. My electrical connections are all on the exterior instead of going into a compartment. So if I was at a park hooked up, I don't have to worry about mice crawling up the electric and getting in. I also carry a ton of blocks, hoses, my own water filtration system so that every drop of water I fill into my tank gets filtered. We still don't drink the water from the tank, but the water here in Arizona is terrible, and a lot of places you go is terrible. That filter still looks like it ran through a sewer after it has about 1,200 gallons of water go through it, which I change out frequently. The part I love the most, most Class A's do have this, which a lot of Class C's don't know what they're missing, and that's having your entire wet bay, all the valves, connections, everything having to do with your sewer hose and all that is all contained up inside the rig. Not only is it heated, but I don't have to worry about there being anything underneath that can catch on anything on the ground. I have so many people I know that have Class C's who have destroyed their plumbing because the waste valves and piping is all underneath, beyond the back tires, where it can be hit when you're boondocking, which can frequently happen. Plus, like I said, all this is a heated space when you run the furnace. I've never had to worry about anything freezing. All my tanks are also in the basement. There's no tanks underneath the bed inside the RV. It's all inside the basement. One more thing I'll show you around the back. I have casters. So when the back of the RV wants to touch down, it hits these solid steel casters, which can allow it to roll and support the weight of the RV. This is welded onto the rear of the frame of the RV that comes all the way back. There's also 3 separate receiver hitches. All of that came with the RV. I haven't honestly added anything to this RV but solar, a tune-up, new tires, and our fridge went out in the summer, and it's got a brand new fridge. You might notice that the exterior has a nice shine to it, which you can see reflections in. That's because I put on 7 coats of Zepp high gloss floor polish. A lot of people think that sounds crazy, but it works great. This is the second RV I've done it to. $22 for a gallon at Home Depot or Lowe's. It's enough to do this RV about 8 to 10 times. This coating and shine have been on here for 1 year. It doesn't fade, it doesn't change, it doesn't require repolishing. It's fantastic. The only thing it's susceptible to are scratches. But any finish is susceptible to scratches. But it just is fantastic. The shine you get is unbelievable. I highly recommend it. There are other videos on YouTube showing you in detail just how to do it. It's very easy. You can also apply it to the rubber, and you can see it's dirty. See when I wipe it clean? See how the rubber still has a shine? That was all dry, chalky black powder when I bought this. And all of the siding everywhere was white, dull, and chalky. Had no shine to it whatsoever. Zepp took care of that. It's too bad that it's not washed right now, because you can really see the shine then, but it still shows. That's it. Okay, this is just a quick tour of our trailer that we haul the RZR and everything else. It's a Mirage, 16 foot by 7 foot by 7 foot. They say 7 foot wide, but it's actually 6'6" inside, and it is 7 feet tall. Dual axle, 7,000 pounds. Came with everything you see on it. The wheels, the blackout, the window, actually windows. This trailer has a rear ramp. We bought this to not only haul the RZR, but this is our mobile garage. We plan on buying some property coming up and staying part of the year on the property with the RV, and this will be the garage. It's a lot easier than building one. And I'll just show you a quick peek inside. We bought it in 2018, brand new. Got a really good deal on it. And it may look messy, but everything is in here in order. I carry all my tools. I carry all my supplies to take care of every part of the RV and our car and the RZR, as well as everything else we own. I carry on a regular basis everything I need to change the oil on the car, RV, generator, and RZR. I carry a lot of our extra stuff. I have a full set of extra wheels and tires for the RZR, all of our chairs, the RZR itself, ladders. Eventually, over the top of the RZR, I will buy a couple of kayaks and put them inside here as well. I painted truck bed liner on the floor and 2 inches up the side of the walls so that I could hose it out if I needed to, and it's impervious to anything that spills in here, like the time I spilled a gallon of oil and a few other things, which makes it nice. Some people would think that it's excessive to haul around this much stuff, but I am a garage guy. I like to do everything myself. I don't like to pay anybody to do anything. And it takes a lot of stuff to maintain stuff. And I've seen people do it two different ways. They either don't maintain their stuff at all, or they pay to have everything done. I can't do that. I also carry a bunch of spare parts for things, and I call it my little hardware store. I've used almost everything I brought with me and have lent out parts and given parts to almost everybody I've camped with at one time or another. And to me, it's worth it to have all that, just in case. Someday this will be parked at our property and will be used as a garage and an indoor shop where things are made and manufactured to be used on the property. Eventually it'll be a property that will be like a homestead. Okay, that's it. Some of you may be wondering what this is. This is a small carpet dryer, and what we use it for, the exhaust for the generator is on the other side of the RV. And anybody who has ran their onboard generator in an RV knows that sometimes the exhaust fumes get inside, and it makes your carbon monoxide detector go off, and sometimes there's nothing you can do to stop it, but you still need to run the generator. Well, by running this when the generator's on, plugged in on the opposite side of the RV, blowing underneath, because the air comes out of a small snout, I can blow a hard stream of air under the RV, and it takes the generator exhaust away from the RV about 25 feet, and then no exhaust comes in. You can buy these at Home Depot for about 75 bucks. It's worth every cent. We have used it hundreds and hundreds of times since we bought it. And it does exactly what it was for, to keep the exhaust fumes from coming into the RV. There's lots of times you run your generator when there is no wind outside, and it's too bad that RV manufacturers don't plumb the exhaust out through the roof so that you never have that problem. But until they do, here's a great solution. Okay, this is our satellite dish. I made a wooden step that we sometimes use to get in and out of the RV. I found that bungeeing the satellite dish down to it gives it a nice stable platform. That way it can't be bumped, it can't be blown over by the wind, which sometimes gets really strong. Rain, no matter what, nothing really affects it. It stays completely put, which you need so that it doesn't lose the signal.